Welcome to Vitrium's how-to video series. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at assigning permissions. What does assigning permissions mean? End users need to have a digital rights policy applied to their account before they can access content. These policies are going to determine how they can access things. They can be assigned to individual users or user groups. They can be assigned per file or via the content folders, and you can customize permissions as needed. Permissions in Vitrium have four possible components to them. The first is to decide if you want to assign permissions based on an individual user or a user group basis. From there, you can then either assign permissions at the content level or for the content folder as a whole. We can see in our top diagram here that we have our content or our folder with two different DRM policies applied to it for two separate users. This means that user 1 and user 2 have different components to their DRM policy that will control how and where they can access the content. In the diagram below, we can see that we have a similar setup here, but instead of an individual user, we have group 1 and group 2. This means that any users that are added to group 1 or to group 2 will automatically have DRM policy 1 or 2 applied to them. The same goes for revoking access as well. When you remove a user from the group, they will no longer have access to content that group has permissions for. In order to assign permissions at the content level, you'll need to navigate to the Content tab of your admin and find the file that you wish to add permissions for. In this case, we're going to take a look at the Vitrium Use Case Spotlight. Clicking on it is going to bring up this dialog box where there is a Permissions tab at the top. Clicking that Permissions tab will show us a window that will list any users or groups that are added here. We don't have any currently assigned at this level, so we will click Add New. This is where you're going to see the Add Permissions window appear. We can see a list of the users created for this account here, where you can also search in this window at the top right. For the sake of this example, we are going to take a look at support@vitrium.com. By selecting them and making sure that they appear in the selection column on the right, we can ensure that permissions are going to be assigned to this user. We will first need to select a DRM policy, however. We can see here that we have several to choose from, and we're going to choose Test Policy to save and exit. We can now see that we have support@vitrium.com with the test policy, download PDF DRM policy, and we can click Add Permissions. We can see now that support@vitrium.com is listed with the DRM policy noted. In order to make sure that this is applied, press Save and Exit. If you're not quite finished and you'd like to add another person or group to the permissions, you can click Add New and repeat the process until finished. Just be sure to click Save and Exit once you are through. When you want to assign permissions at the folder level, you'll want to be on the Content tab and make sure that your folder tree is visible. It's important to remember that when assigning permissions at the folder level, any subfolders are going to be automatically included in those permissions. In order to assign permissions at this level, click the drop-down menu here and click Set Permissions. This dialog box will appear and we can set permissions for users or groups. We click Add New, and then we can select users or groups at the top here. If you're selecting users, you can choose from the list that's presented here, or you can search for specific ones in the search bar here. You can choose to select a single user or multiples by checking these boxes here, or you can go over to groups and select one group or multiple groups as well. We can see here in the selection column that we have the individual user listed as well as the groups that we want to apply permissions for. Once we've confirmed that those are the ones that we want to add, we will click on the drop-down menu here for the DRM policy and select the policy that we wish to apply. Once you've selected your policy, click Save and Exit and confirm the details before clicking Add Permissions. We can now see that we've got our groups and this individual user listed, the DRM policy that has been applied. If you wish to change the policy for any of these groups or users, all you need to do is click on that policy and that same dialog box will appear with the listed DRM policies for your account. We can instead choose a different one here. We can see that Italy now has the Vitrium staff policy versus the education policy. Once you're happy with the results that you've got there, you can click Save and Exit. Thanks so much for watching. Be sure to check out our other how-to videos and our knowledge base online.